there guys, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel today. Today I'm going to be discussing predominantly a program called Westworld. So for those of you that haven't seen the show Westworld, it's a very new show. I believe it is HBO, so an American network for any English people out there that maybe didn't know about it. And it's the new big thing, I guess, if you will. I've been captivated by it since I started watching it. Now, there's very, very few programs that I actually watch. In fact, I could probably name it on one hand, the amount of programs I watch. I'm not really big into TV, but this show is something along the lines of the film The Matrix, where it makes you question your reality and what is around you. And with regard to the Mandela effect, it makes you question if we do live in a simulation. And it's quite, I don't want to say coincidental that it's come out at the same time as Mandela effect has kind of blown up, I guess. Again, could be a coincidence, could be planned, who knows. But if you haven't seen it, just check out a trailer for it at least on YouTube. So the program is called Westworld. So with regard to the simulation theory, I personally still have a portion of my mind that thinks what if. But deep down, I still don't believe that we do live in a simulation. If anything, maybe when we're talking about simulation, maybe we do have a hive mentality and that we've all been separated. And that when, for example, at a stadium of a football event or a Beyonce show or a Jay-Z show where everyone's throwing up the triangles and what have you, and there's a lot of energy there. So you've got a hive mentality of energy in one show, and then you've got everyone doing the same thing, throwing up The Rock. I still think that we are energy and that we are not in a simulation. However, I do see I check for Mandela effects almost every day on YouTube, because for me it's taken over my life completely. And I just think that a lot of people seem to be moving with the simulation theory. And the more and more I'm researching other topics, which I won't go too deep into them now, but things about our origins, about control systems. Max Spears, I know some people didn't appreciate the videos that I put up, but the majority did seem to. Things that he said that have correlated with other research I've done, or that other people that I deem as viable sources have said, that to me is very interesting, and it resonates with me as well. There's certain things that he said and that other people have said that almost resonate with me on a level that, so logically I think that the simulation theory is plausible. I can't dispute that. And about 20% of my head says, what if? However, instinctively, I feel like there's a lot more to it than that. And there's other bits that I've looked at research-wise that suggest that to me on a level that's deeper than just knowledge. It's almost a feeling that you feel that there's something more to it. Again, that might sound a bit wacky, a bit out there. I understand that. But I'm just trying to cover a few topics in this video here. I don't want to dwell on one topic too long. So another one is, with this Westworld program, again, I can't stress enough how much you need to see this program if you have been affected by the Mandela effect and wanting to know not necessarily the cause of it, but what could be a plausible reason why. With that being said, there is something called predictive programming. I'm sure a lot of the people that are regular viewers of my channel will know what this means. For anyone that's just stumbled upon this video, whether they've typed in Westworld or what have you, and haven't heard of this term, check out predictive programming. It's been used across cartoons, films, music, basically any form of media that can shape or form our views of society or the world that we live in. It's been used for that. Again, a video, type in The Simpsons predictive programming. So everyone loves, or at least knows, The Simpsons. See how many times they have predictively programmed situations into their show, for example. Another program, so this is something that I watched as a kid. I've spoken about this once in a video I did months ago. So a program called Sliders. Sliders. So there's not much that I could find of it on YouTube, in all honesty, because it's quite an old program now. I think maybe early 90s or something like that. So the program effectively is all about parallel dimensions. Now, every time the guy would slide in between different dimensions, there would be subtle differences, kind of like what's happening with the Mandela effect. So you've got something like JC Penny is now JC Penne, or Lazy Boy is now Lazy Boy. So they're all subtle differences. There's one letter here, one letter there, a hyphen here, an apostrophe there. There's real subtle differences on most of the things. I mean, there are some big changes, like the JFK assassination. The Capricorn Mergoat, for me, is a massive one. Still makes me smile every time I think of that one. But that program, for me personally, highlights exactly what the Mandela effect is. That there is some sort of way of sliding in between, or manipulating dimensions, or merging, or what have you. Another thing which I've thought of and I've heard of a couple of people talk about on here is frequencies. So this is something that I think is completely plausible, that we are, as a species. So there's a film called They Live, where there's effectively a frequency that masks how people see things, but they can only see the reality when they wear a set of glasses. I think that that's plausible, that maybe our frequency, if there is a frequency that controls the way we see things, maybe something happened to that. Maybe we're just allowed to have a glimmer into reality of what our true purpose as human beings are. Because within me, and I'm sure that everyone watching this, you feel like you've got a purpose. What's the point of being here? Am I here to just do a perpetual cycle of wake up, go to work, go to sleep, eat, etc., etc., pay rent, taxes, all the usual crap that you have to do on a day-to-day basis? Instinctively, intrinsically, I know that deep within all of us, we all know that there is a much bigger purpose to it. Yet we are blinded by things such as consumerism, or idolatry, as in I want to be just like Beyonce, I want to be just like Jay-Z, for example. We're very much blinded by that. But I think instinctively, at some stage, so it happened to me, and I'm sure it's going to happen to anyone that's younger than me or anyone that's older than me, it's probably happened to as well, where you realise that consumerism isn't the way. When you realise that there's something off in the world, when you think that we can spend so much money on a war, yet there's poverty. You start to see how the world is run in a business, and you see how certain people are profiting off, not even off individuals, off the masses, whether it's energetically, whether it's financially. And then again, when you look at money, that's a whole different story. The origins of money, if anyone's ever thought of that, I'm sure most of you already know it, but check out the origins of how money came about. But it just leads me to believe that there is something a bit more than just a simulation. And the more and more I do think about it and research, I do believe that we are being harvested energetically. As I say, my beliefs, I've said in a previous video that I believe we're all energy. And again, going back to the Jay-Z Rockefeller thing, when you've got all energy in one room doing the same like the same symbols, the same vibes, the same state of euphoria, that's a powerful thing. Because even if you have two people that are connected on a level, that's probably the equivalent of maybe 10 of you rather than just two people. That energy grows. I've been in situations where I've been with a person, and when you're completely on the same vibe, things can happen. Very strange story. So I was with an ex-girlfriend in a place called Greenwich, which is quite a historical place in England. Went there for a day out. I'm not really a big pub goer. I don't really drink too much, but I just said, oh, let's go to that pub over there. Something drew me to that pub. Now, we went, we had a drink, and then towards the end of it, I said, oh, I'm just going to go to the toilet quickly, and she needed to go as well. We went down this spiral staircase, and the more and more you went down it, bearing in mind England has a lot of history, so the pub was probably built on something else, or that building was probably something else back in the day. As I was going down the spiral staircase, I felt very, very overwhelmingly oppressed and sad. And I just thought, okay, maybe this is me, maybe I'm just being sensitive or what have you. I went into the toilet, and the feeling got so strong that I actually I couldn't pee at first. So they had a long urinal, but there were 2 cubicles as well, and I actually had to check in the cubicles to see if anyone was in there, because there was just such a weird vibe. There wasn't anyone in there. I then peed in the urinal. It was like a long tray. Then was washing my hands in the sink and started crying. I just had such an overwhelming feeling of sadness. Anyone that knows me, they'd be surprised to know that I'm crying. I'm not really a crying type person. I'm not overly emotional most of the time. But I felt overwhelmed with sadness when I was in there. So I came out, obviously dried my eyes, was walking, and then I said to my ex-girlfriend at the time, I said what had happened, and I said, look, this is just so weird, because she knows that I'm not really a crying person. The same thing happened to her. She was actually crying in the toilet she was in and had the same feelings. Now, there was just something weird about that whole day in general. Just a weird series of events kept happening. People would come up to us and ask us things in the street. But yeah, I think that energetically, when people are on a same vibe, again, whether it's in a concert or what have you, it amplifies that energy. Money is a form of energy in the sense that we will work our asses off to get it, to buy those new trainers, sneakers, or what have you. And when you're in a job you don't like, for example, you'll be having negative energy. I believe that there are, again, whether they're reptilians, aliens, Anunnaki, whatever I don't know. Again, this is stuff that I'm still researching myself, but I've always felt that something isn't right, but I could just never put my finger on it. But I feel like the more and more I research, it's forming a view of what I believe feels right rather than just sounds right. Again, the simulation theory sounds right, doesn't feel right. That's all from me, guys. Again, I apologize. I'm not the best video editor, so my videos probably don't look as good as the Shane Dawson's and stuff like that. But hopefully you can take something from what I've said in this video. Maybe even if you research one thing, that'll be interesting. Oh, one thing before I forget. So I was just watching Esoteric Detective's videos. Watched him from the beginning. I think he's a great researcher. And on one of the new ones, there was something that was very interesting. So he's got a new presenter on there. And he noticed. So I'm not great with film trivia and actors' names and what have you. So James Earl Jones, the guy who was Darth Vader in the Star Wars films, was also in Field of Dreams. You got Sally Field, or Sally Fields, was in Forrest Gump, as well as Life is Like a Box of Chocolates. So one of my initial Mandela Effect videos was, for me, it feels like there's a link to what's going on with these Mandela effects. They didn't seem random to me. I felt like there was something that was connecting them. Again, the Cruella de Vil, how her name is now changed to Cruella Devil, basically. But again, if anyone out there is doing their own research, look into that. I mean, it could be a coincidence. I personally don't believe in coincidences. One more thing. So with regard to me putting the music on my channel, for anyone that's been following this channel for a while, that's what I initially did on this channel, was music, and then it kind of formed into the Mandela Effect, I guess. Once I realised that, then the whole channel was just basically about Mandela Effect. I changed the name of the channel because of that. Yeah, so every now and again there may be a song that comes up on there or what have you, but ultimately the purpose of this channel is predominantly Mandela Effect or any other, I guess, esoteric. This camera keeps losing focus for some reason. I have no idea why. But it's going to be predominantly the Mandela Effect and... Okay, it's completely lost focus. There we go. I have no idea why. So webcam, pain in the arse. But I'm going to end it there anyway, guys. So thanks a lot for your time. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on Westworld as well if you've watched it. And that's all from me, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.